Welcome back. We are going to finish Love in the Womb. Love in the Womb. And we only have a few videos left, and we're going to move on. And it's an exciting time. And as afore stated, these new images are really what it's really making this a very powerful, dynamic lesson. These images that you can see at the beginning of this series. Okay? I'm very happy with them. I'm enjoying them myself. I am enjoying new technology here. I am. Let me get some more light here. I am definitely enjoying what's going down here. So, and it is powerful stuff. It's wonderful stuff. We'll fix the lighting later. We have a few lighting issues here. I don't know what happened to the. This is Jeremiah with New Covenant. I want you to enjoy the Bible study as we get into the Word of the living God. And we greet you in the only name given amongst men. Now, I did get some music here. We can talk about a few other issues. Now, we're going to get into Love in the Womb, and we left off on probably, I think we'll go to 104:24, Psalm 104:24, and we'll look at the many colored, the word manifold, and I don't know the Greek and Hebrew differentiation, but I do know that manifold means many colored. And color is relative to life and entities and design, etc. So the word manifold is how many different kinds of things does God create, and how cool is it? How awesome? What this whole thing of God creating things, and why we really enjoy, all of this wonderful creation. And so we're on Psalm 124. I probably need to change my glasses here, maybe not. So here we are. Jeremiah is on fire. And we looked at uh, 104:24 a little earlier, which is in wisdom, thou hast made them all. We're going to take a look at that. And that's a very powerful scripture, and it's relative to the theme of this year, and more specifically to this particular Love in the Womb series, which is under beauty too. I'll probably make this 7.6 point something. For as many of you have ascertained, 7.6 is man and him in regards to being created. And this is a big part of, even though we're dealing with infancy and so forth, we're also dealing with humans who are adults, because adults used to be infants. See, that's so, so just because we're talking about womb babies, we haven't left humans, because that's what humans are. Now, and it gets into some science, and it gets into, we can get into some biology or references to God's capabilities, and we're going to get into that just a little bit today, but that can be a huge lesson. So well, we can just keep expanding and keep going, but I'm not going to do that because I already have everything planned. And let me mention that because I plan everything basically almost a year in advance. Somebody offered me a book here the other day, and I told them that I can't I can't read the book. Basically, I think Dr. Jim wanted me to read his book. He had a thesis on, or a dissertation on the history of religions and so forth. A very bright friend of mine who taught K through 12 in Los Angeles, and I never got to Jim's book, and I kind of felt bad about it afterwards. But you gotta take time out for your friends. But I just have such a schedule here, and you don't want to hurt people's feelings and so forth. You want to support them. But the thing is that I have just been so busy for so many years. I have next year just about planned already. Now, if the Lord doesn't come back, and we're very sad in saying that, we're Jeremiah's Lamentations. I mean, there's nothing sadder than than having to think about dealing with this world and turning on Fox News or whatever and seeing what is wrong with everything. We're burnt out on all of this. I am, from COVID to every vid. But it's just every video or coronavirus or whatever we went out of here. I enjoyed some coffee right here. I'm enjoying Bible study. I just got a new piano for a gift to this ministry and so forth. They thought that the piano was for personal use and enjoyment. That's not necessarily what we use here in church. I've made this area here a home church and so forth in terms of Bible teaching. And my piano's here now, and I don't have to go anywhere to work on hymns and so forth and to put them online. This is an online ministry whereby that we have very little contact right now with the population because of the web, and I'm getting ready to sign up with another web hosting channel thing. I forgot the name of it, but there's a couple that I was going here and I'm going there. So we're here. I'm here to expose the gospel and Bible teachings and lots of music online, basically free of charge. And the institution, this academic institution, is totally free, and people can make contributions to the poor in their neighborhood, give alms as it's called, and support somebody else or something. I knew that I would be probably a supplemental teacher, just like my music. I have over 100,000, not 100,000. It's headed to 100,000 maybe sometime this year, maybe 100,000 views on my channel. That's a lot of people. But most of the people, if not 98% of them, they don't come for me. They come for the romance strings that are available as part of this channel. And I allowed that to happen because those strings are essentially harmless. Even the songs and the words to the songs are essentially okay. They're not 100% fixed, but neither are actually hymns. Hymns are 99% fine. But there's a little bit of bad science in our church hymns, such as the worlds thy hands hast made. There are no worlds the Lord has made. There is no such thing. But that's okay. We won't go into that. But I decided to put some of those romance strings up, and they're basically a lot of harmless I love you songs. Some of the best that Americans have composed, I think. America is a very interesting place. There are a lot of one-time things that happen in this country that have never really happened anywhere else. And that is a fact. When Americans asked God to shed His grace upon them, He did. You better believe it. So, but I do have those strings songs there, and they're very, very, very popular online right now because those guys are professionals, big time. The 101 strings guys, they are big time, top of the line, Michel Legrand, Mozarty guys, and people are enjoying them. And of course, as many of you have gathered, it's there for a come on. We're here. I don't listen to that much secular music at all. I'll probably listen to some secular music Thursday when I go for a drive to go shopping. I plan my life out almost to the T. I'm an older guy. I basically know what I'm going to do. But let's get back to the lesson, Jermaine. I have a psychology lesson that'll be ready next year. I don't know when, but it should be ready. I'll probably call it Babylon's theology, psychology, philosophy. I'm going to expose about 10 videos or so of some information, and I'm going to make it very quick. And let me share it with you before we get into love in the womb as we get back into Psalm 104. we have a lot of things going on here, and I'm very excited to to introduce a lot of information, and it's going to be more comprehensive and shorter. I'm going to make things short. I enjoy fleshing things out, so to speak, or developing ideas. The word embellish, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start making things really precise. It's going to be snap, crackle, pop. And the psychology lesson, what I'm going to probably call Babylonian theology, or more, no, that's not the word I want to use. Babylonian ideology is a better word than theology. Much better word. That's more along religious only. I want an ideology, so I'll probably call it Babylon's ideologies or something like that. Or Babylon ideologies. Babylonian is probably better. And I will explain a lot of modernity for you in a short group of lessons, because next year I'm going to get away from beauty so much. Beauty is still going to be a big theme. It'll never leave one of the main components of my ministry, because we use videos here a lot, and they're getting more and more popular. So that means that we're going to continue to put out videos, and because the Christian brethren are enjoying them, therefore we're going to spend some time on that, based upon that reaction. So the Bible lessons are not being watched very much at all, but that fluctuates, and that goes into another issue, which is, when the ox is grinding the corn, he gets to eat the corn. When I'm teaching you, I'm enjoying all of this, even though the numbers have dropped drastically from 2 years ago. From viewers, and I'm not that much interested. They try to remind me of how many viewers. I'm not that much interested in viewership. I am interested, however, remember, I'm learning a little as I go along here, and I'm reviewing, and my own Christianity is being established and edified right here. I've taught classes where there's only a few students. It doesn't change the format. Excuse me, it doesn't change the energy. There's 1,000 or 5. What difference does it make? Every human being is valuable. Therefore, what difference does it make? None. Now, it's more desirable to probably help more people, per se, but that's hard to argue with. But who are we to ascertain or determine that, I'm not God. If I help 5 people or 1,000, or I'm helping, that's my job. I'm not here to quantify really anything. We have a song here, to know no loss nor gain. That's exactly what we have here. I don't think about detriment or plus or minus here. That goes for my finances or anything, because I don't have time for it, and there's no room for it. I don't make room for increment analysis. That's for people who are not thinking very well. We're too busy enjoying the love of God shed abroad in our hearts, the fervent love of Jesus Christ, for us to think about really anything else. They had a hit song here years ago in America called "Too Busy Thinking About My Baby, and I Don't Have Time for Nothing Else." That's essentially what Quakerhood is. We don't really have a lot of time for the things that other people do that are out there in the world. I don't know what they're doing per se, because I really don't want to know. It's not related to loving God. Therefore, what do I want to do? Excuse me. I mean, we're not into the world. If you love the world, you're an enemy to God. Because the world system is essentially confronting God all the time. Just like I just mentioned my psychology lesson I'm preparing for you here. next year. I'm going to make it awfully quick because I don't have a lot of time for secular information or analysis of confused people. That's what Babylon means. I don't have a lot of time for confused people, but I just gave a lesson on the apostasy here. I threw it in the middle of beauty. I didn't plan on it, but I figured I better respond to the environment. The environment is totally immersed in the apostasy today, in real time. I must address it, even though I wanted to focus primarily on the good stuff this year. I've already went through hundreds of ideas and lessons on the mean people, the people who aren't kind, and to be honest, or to be frank with you, I'm going to France, vive la France. I'm burnt out. How many books of Jeremiah's Lamentations can I write before we say bye-bye to that which is lamentable, to that which is negative? Okay, there comes a time when we stop focusing on that. Now, next year, I will get right back into touching on some negative things, but guess what? I'm going to make it so quick, they're going to be like 20-minute lessons now. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on negative items. I'm going to go through them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm shutting the plant down. And for those of you who want to get more information on a lot of what's negative out there in the world and so forth, you can go back to my earlier channel. I have an earlier channel where I really exhaust a lot of information pertaining to bad people, Babylon, this group over here, and that group over there. Listen, we're going to spend more time in rejoicing in what we own in the rest of this ministry. We own a sound mind. Therefore, why do I want to spend so much time mulling over the people who are mean and bad? I don't want to do that. And I'll never do that again in this ministry, never. From now on, when I mention, you can go back to my previous channel. That's for adults only at this time. And you know, you can get into all of that. The number one thing on the web right now for evangelicals in this period of the Laodicean period is the beast and all of this stuff. And I think it's wonderful, but to me it's overboard. I don't want a lot of... I think there are over 100 titles for the beast in the Bible. Now, if I gave you a lesson on the 100 titles of the beast, I would make it super quick. I'm not going to go into every aspect of evil. I'm not going to do that. If for those of you who are more interested in eschatology and getting into the details of how bad it's going to get for people in the tribulation period, I'm not going to do that. Now, I'll do that as a warning to get you on your toes, but as far as getting into it so we can, forget about getting out of here, no. We're focused on getting out of here. We're focused on being in peace. That's what Jerusalem means. We're focused on being in a peaceful home with a peaceful king, and that permanently. That's what we focus on here every 10 minutes here or so. Now, I didn't want to get into too much of what's going on in the future here, but I decided to do it anyway. So for those of you interested who are following along, and Love in the Womb is ginormous. I'm surprised it's not taking off more than it is. I think it's had 30 views in like a week or two. That's not really encouraging for what humans in America and elsewhere are doing with their time. They're not taking time to think about the rudiments of life and truth and reality. They are taking flights of fantasy, and that's what they're spending their time on. And we're here to help them out. We're not here to be discouraged. We are confident that we're going to reach a lot of people, and these videos in Love in the Womb, they're going to make an impact on the caregiving of babies. That's one of the main things we're doing here. that we emphasize no matter what problems you have, in doing so, do the right job and be quiet about it, essentially. I don't want to hear a lot of complaining. You know, I come from a family where both of my parents, especially my dad, my earth father, you didn't want to complain around him. He couldn't stand complainers. You'd better find something positive to talk about around him. I mean, if you got a problem, you better talk about finding a solution and not complaining about the problem. That's essentially what we're doing here. Is we're promoting that atmosphere. That the world is bad right now, and it is. These are the last days before the tribulation period. But we're going to focus on a lot of these images I have online, which are heaven. Most of the ministries I've encountered and which are around today, they're into prosperity and riches and getting healthy and all of this, which is not all bad, but it is bad generally speaking, because you're supposed to be focusing on being in heaven, which is your permanent home. Why would you focus on a temporary home? That's not logical. It's okay for you to focus on your temporary home to a certain extent. That's logical. Some people have shied away from this ministry because they told me basically that I'm not much into the world or something, and I told them, thank you very much. That is a correct observation. I do not want to be a part of the world. I don't love the world. I'm very patriotic. I have more patriotic movies than anybody I know. But it doesn't mean that I don't understand that this is not essentially my country. My country is with Abraham and with my parents who are in Jerusalem in the sky. That's my country. Notwithstanding, this is my country too. What I just said, most Americans do not acknowledge in their brain. They're zombies concerning what I just told you. We're here to help them, but many of them are stuck on that, and that's their business. What can we do? And that even goes for a lot of Republicans, friends that I know. They just can't prioritize being with Jesus Christ and loving Him and thinking about that, which is sad because that's the whole point of Christianity. The whole point of Christianity is not for you to cultivate and foster some sort of adoration of your world. That's nonsense. Why would you want to get into some sort of adoration and over-appreciation for that which is temporary? It doesn't make any sense. Does it? No, it doesn't. You talk about Father too much. You talk about going to heaven too much. I want to talk about making money or something. Right? I get that from a lot of people who tell me they attend church. Well, what are they doing there? Well, they are being deceived. Something's wrong. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The Christian faith is based upon things that you haven't seen yet. That's 4th to 8th grade grammar. Now, we teach that here, but if people don't want to come to that actualization, then we'll just continue to pray for them and just observe them go in circles on the roller coaster in the rodent cage. You know, the wheels are spinning, but they're not really going anywhere. The only time you make progress as a human being is when you prioritize the love and the presence of Jesus Christ. Until then, you're really just going around in circles. I don't care if you sit in a pew. I don't care if you sing some hymns every now and then on Easter or whatever. You really haven't gotten anywhere. Until you start prioritizing the love of Jesus Christ and being with Jesus Christ. Jesus didn't want you to join him as a friend so you could kind of use him and talk about how good he is to you in the morning and then party all day long and not prioritize his commandments. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. Now, let's get to the lesson germane as I get off into general Bible teaching. And by the way, that's where we segued into when we got a little bit away from beauty here, as we're getting into general doctrine again, which is category number 2, and we're going to start itemizing where we are as we go along, okay? I'll tell you where you are, and pretty soon you're going to know where you are. That's the goal here, is to create learners here. Love in the womb. Now, I just mentioned a few items, and then let's get to the lesson germane as I was talking about what I'm going to teach next year, how I stay ahead of the game here, some of the things that are happening as far as quantifying who's watching and all of that, and another channel's coming up. But let all that go, because that's just kind of behind the scenes stuff and projections. And getting back to some general doctrine, which I do all the time here, pertaining to number 1 on the list, which is agape. Why is this love so valuable? Why are we in a fight? And why do we want to fight? Because we don't want to lose the love and the presence of Jesus Christ. That's why we teach fighting here. This is war, number 24. And the war is for the ownership of your soul. For all of our souls here. Iron sharpens iron, so that we all can make it into the narrow gate by a narrow set of behaviors. That's what the master means. Now let's get to the lesson germane, love in the womb. Let's go to 104:24. O Lord, how manifest are thy works, in wisdom thou hast made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So, a baby is a manifold work of God. It is the apex of his creation, the paramount, the human being, created in the image of God. So that's what we have here. But there are many works of the Lord, and they're all wonderful, and they're beautiful, and they are rich. They're extremely valuable. That's why beauty has been the main focus of this year, because we're focusing on how valuable beauty is in color and light. When you go downstairs, there's no color and there's no light. You've lost the riches of the manifold creations that God has put in your face, and why lose it? Don't do that. That's why we have Bible study. That's why we teach you to hunger after what's right and to seek forgiveness when you don't do what's right. So that you can come out of this a winner, smelling like a rose, and you get in the straight and narrow gate, and so that you don't miss out on all of this beauty. I put that in the description of some of these videos to remind you that this year's theme is beauty, and it's very, very, very significant. That one of the things you're going to lose, that people are going to lose by not putting a love devotion to Jesus Christ, listening to his commandments. Don't give me a lot of clown talk. I want to hear the nuts and bolts. We used to say, growing up, come down, clown. What an excellent idiom or request or demand. Come down, clown. When you're hanging around people back in the old days and they're playing games and they're being abusive, or they're not telling the truth, or they're trying to brag about something, we would tell them, come down, clown, because that's what you are. You're a clown. The only person that gets any reward around here pertaining to glory or any honor, essentially, is Jesus Christ. End of story. Everybody else is in the same boat. And when someone tries to go beyond that divide, then we have a problem. Thou hast made them all. There are no accidents here. There is no Darwinism here. We teach that it's all made by God. End of story here. I'll be right back for number 7 here. This is probably 7 or 8 here. I'll enumerate them later on love in the womb. As we start getting into these scriptures now, we're just about done here. Let's go to 119. No, let's go to 25. But we'll go to 25 on the next video. Okay? We're going to look at the ocean for a moment, which is one of my favorite subjects. I'll be right back. Maranatha.